Welcome everyone. My name is Nagin Sadeghi-Movahed. I'm your incoming chair for the Law Student Division. Today we're here with three great candidates for the Delegate of Diversity position. We have Miosoti Tenakora, Alana Glover, and Caitlin Peterson with us here today. And so to give you all an idea of what the format of this Q&A will be, it should last no longer than 45 minutes. For these three candidates, it should be 30 minutes. Each candidate will give a 2-minute opening statement, introducing themselves and giving brief remarks. After that, we will ask a series of questions pulled from members like you, the council and the assembly, and each candidate will have the chance to answer each question. All responses will be about 1 minute long, and leftover time does not carry over. And we will randomly select who goes first, and we'll rotate hereafter. So the first candidate to go will be Alana Glover. You will have 2 minutes to give an opening statement, and the time will begin when you begin talking.
All right, thank you. So as you already said, my name is Alana Glover. I'm currently a rising 2L at the University of Baltimore School of Law. I think that I would be able to bring a lot of experience to this position as a delegate of diversity and inclusion. As an undergrad, I double majored in criminal justice and African American studies. Through my experience as at law school currently, I'm the Director of Community Service for the Black Law Students Association. I'm also an ambassador for the Andrew Goodman Foundation, which was a foundation established for Andrew Goodman, who was a civil rights activist who was actually killed in the 1960s, registering individuals to vote in 1964, which led to the Voting Rights of 1965. And I've also been very active in other programs in my school that affects minority students, such as If, When, How, which is an organization started by Black women to advocate for Black women's reproductive justice rights. I'd like to be able to bring this experience I have coupled with what the ABA has to offer to make sure that diverse students are represented in the ABA. They feel that their voices are being heard, and that I'm making sure that the ABA is being inclusive to people with socioeconomic disadvantages, people of different races, gender, and all different paths of life. So that is my goal that I wish to bring to the ABA. And I just want to make sure as a candidate that I'm representing the people who elect me and that I'm advocating for them first and foremost. So like I said, thank you for having me. I look forward to the rest of the questions this evening.
Thank you so much, Alana. And now we'll move on to Caitlin.
Hi, everyone. I'm Caitlin Peterson. I'm the current Delegate of Diversity for the 2017-2018 school year. So I'm running for the position again. I'm a rising 3L at Washington and Lee, and it's been a really great experience being a Delegate of Diversity. I have been able to make a lot of change at both my school, my state, and then of course the greater ABA, which also as well, I just want to take a moment to say, so we're the first batch of students who are being interviewed, getting this Q&A session. And as you can see from this web that we're a very diverse group of students. And so as well as you look at the rest of the candidates, it's a very diverse group of students. And I take no responsibility for that. That is totally nominating committee. But because of that, we're posed to be one of the most diverse leadership boards in the ABA. So that's a fantastic thing. Clap to the nominating committee for that. But a little bit more about kind of myself and what I've been doing this year. So I've kind of been joking that it's a lot like being a congressperson, doing a lot of advocating, not just with the Law Student Division, but other ABA entities to get different programs, make sure that students are heard by directly communicating to them, which is something I want to continue and expand, of course, as well as just making sure that students feel safe to be diverse, and that even students who aren't diverse, maybe outwardly like me, or students that I may not understand to be as diverse because I don't have the experience, such as undocumented students, I still want to represent those students, and those are very big issues to me. So if reelected, I'll keep on with that type of representation as well as direct advocacy for students. And so thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. Now we'll move on to Miosotti.
Saludos, greetings. It's a pleasure to be part of this Q&A among all of the candidates. My name is Miosotti, but you can call me Mio for short. I'm from the Boogie Down Bronx in New York City. I'm a third-year public interest scholar at BU Law. I'm a Latina woman of color, first-generation American, as my parents were not born here, first-generation college graduate, and I'm a first-generation going into law school. I come from one of the poorest congressional districts. Because of this, I first started the first generation professionals at BU Law. Within 1 year, we've been the most active group on campus. We've held over 12 events this year, funded by all by law firms. We've tackled mental health. We brought together one of our best events, which is a diversity and inclusion event, first of its kind. We brought together all the Boston law schools for it. Literally, I want to tackle 4 main areas: more resources for FGP students, like making events more affordable to students. 2, tackle more mental health initiatives by bringing more resources like self-care. 3, help with existing pipeline programs. I'm a ABA Clio alumni, which helped me get into law school. So I kind of want to reach out to them and get their perspective and continue a pipeline program. I'm not running for myself. I'm running for the students that are lacking a voice. I take initiative. I've reached out to Caitlin, which was very kind to answer some of my questions about the position. And I truly believe diversity cannot exist without inclusion. We need to work a little harder on the inclusion side. I'm excited to talk more about the position. I have a lot of experience. And I'm grateful to be sitting here with this in this Q&A. And I hope to have your vote this August 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So now we're going to begin the question portion, and just a reminder that you all have 1 minute to answer each question. The first question will start off with something pretty basic, and the question is, what is your definition of diversity? And we'll begin with Caitlin to answer this question first.
Okay, so my definition of diversity is kind of the same as it was last year, which is diversity is basically kind of the others of society. So there was actually, and this is going to be a funny example, but there was a John Cena video of him saying, think about what you think of the average American. And most people would think, oh, it's like a white male or female. But that is not all of what America is. And that's certainly not what all the ABA or the law students are. We are a very diverse group. We're one of the most diverse groups inside of the ABA. And that's not just on race or gender, any of those types of issues, but also LGBTQ students, accessibility and disability. So representing those students based off like immigration status at a law school as a first-year student, as the first professional student, which I am in my family as well, to go to law school. So making sure that like those students and socioeconomic students, all these types of students need to be represented.
Fantastic. And now we will move on to Miosotti.
Sorry about that. While there are many factors that fall into the category of diversity, I believe diversity means empowering people by respecting and appreciating what makes them different. Diversity means to me walking down the street and never othering individuals and understanding that we're all living in a shared space for a limited time. And I also truly believe that within the diversity definition, there has to be an inclusion definition married to it, as we want diverse people and students to actually be inclusive into the community and not just siloed into different categories. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we'll move on to Alana.
All right, thank you for that question. Diversity to me is representing all people from all different backgrounds, regardless of, as I said earlier, race, gender, socioeconomic status, sexual orientation. I think that everyone has different experiences, and I think that although the population is very diverse, what is important is respecting each and every one of those differences. And even though I have had my experiences as a diverse, woman of color, I can be able to talk to someone who may not have the same experiences as me, but be able to relate to them, be able to understand the experiences that they may have had, and be able to respect those experiences and try to establish a plan for all of us to work together as one. Everyone's different, everyone grows up differently, everyone experiences different things. And I think to be able to recognize that, to be able to respect it, that is what is most important about diversity and what it is to me.
Great. Thank you very much for those great answers. Now we'll move on to our second question. And Miosoti, you'll be the first to answer this question. Alana will answer next and Caitlin will answer last. So the next question is, what is your vision of an association like the ABA that fully embraces diversity?
Yeah, so I envision that through collaborative efforts with the affinity caucuses and the student presidents and other students of leadership, we will bring a better understanding of diversity to the ABA. I want it to be crystal clear to every diverse student and to the larger population that the ABA is concerned and advocating for the needs of diverse students, that the ABA is taking proactive measures to ensure that not only diversity is important, but also inclusion. It is not enough to have diverse students in law schools. There must be an escalated effort to bring inclusion in all of these law schools by aggressive programming to meet their needs. So that's what I envision, my vision for the ABA. Thank you.
Great. Now, excuse me, we will have Alana next.
What I envision as far as diversity in the ABA and working in its best form is for us to address directly individual issues. One big thing that I've tried to do thus far is contact people individually, whether it be liaisons, whether it be SB presidents, and ask them, what do you think that the ABA could be doing differently? Like, what are the good aspects that you see? What are the issues that you see? And after we identify the issues, making a plan to address it and ensuring that different populations' voices are heard. I also, want to applaud Caitlin for talking about how diverse this division of the ABA is, and how I think that's important, not only to have diversity in this position as the delegate of diversity inclusion, but have diversity throughout all leadership roles of the ABA. I think the ABA Law Student Division has done that well so far, but I think that we can always improve and we can always continue to work towards bettering that in general.
Great, and now we'll move on to Caitlin.
Yeah, so, and again, I believe you've said this to me before, so making sure that diversity is not just a buzzword, but it's actually taken seriously within not just the ABA, but other entities that we work with has been my main goal this year and will continue to be my goal. And so, I'm sorry. So, my main goal for diversity is making sure that it is not just a buzzword, that people actually take action for it. And so what we need to do as the ABA, and what I've been trying to do this year, is make a lot of connections with different entities, both inside and out of the ABA, such as BOLSA, such as LOSA, those types of entities. So that way we can all work together, not just within the ABA, but also to a lot of diverse students outside of the ABA to bring about better diversity initiatives and different programs that we can all benefit from. So I think another good example of a group that works outside of the ABA is the LCLD, which people should look up, but they work with us a lot too. Thank you.
Great, and now we'll move on to our next question, and we'll begin with Alana for this question. Delegates have a vote in the ABA House of Delegates, a policymaking body made up of over 500 ABA leaders, in addition to ABA staff members familiar with diversity. Elaborate on your experience with senior Bar Association members or high-level lawyers, officials, or executives.
Thank you for that question. Well, I have had experiences through ABA members through my law school and also being involved with local bar associations in my area. In addition to that, a lot of local bar members are in positions at firms. This summer, for example, I worked at the Attorney General's office where I was able to make connections with different lawyers who are a part of our local bar associations and have led me and advised me in how to advocate and be on behalf of diverse law students, what is the best way to be able to do that. And that's the experience that I have moving forward into making my vote count. And if I was selected for this position, like I said, I never want to move too far away from I was elected by a group of people, so I want to be able to represent them effectively. I think that sometimes in positions, whether it be the ABA or regular politics, a politician can be so far removed from the people that elected them, they don't represent them. That's one thing that I hope to do and I want to represent in my position.
Great, thank you so much. And now I'll move on to Caitlin.
Yeah, so I guess this is sort of an easy question this year because through this position, you of course meet a lot of high officials, different associates, and I always make sure that when I meet these people though, it's never just about me, it is always I am advocating for law students. So people know me in the ABA when I work with them as a delegate with a voting position. I am going to vote for what's best for law students, and I am always going to think about what is best for diverse law students and having these experiences and being able to vote. So being able to vote at the House of Delegates for the ABA is very important for me. And so a good experience with that is in my Virginia Bar Association, I'm recognized as being a diverse individual who always takes those issues seriously. And so because of that, I've been able to funnel issues, not just for the ABA, but in Virginia as well, diverse issues.
Thank you very much. And now I'll move on to Miosotti.
Yeah, so truthfully, I don't have experience communicating with high officials of the ABA, although I am a CLEO scholar, so I know some of the CLEO officials there. My highest interaction with high officials was when I worked with the ambassador in the United Nations. I had to be on my utmost professional skills I had to improve on. I also interned with my district city council member, who's very important to me since he's in my district. I am the Boston Bar Association representative for BU Law. I've brought up ideas for them. For example, again, FGP issues. I've connected with law firms, had recruitment for law firms so they can recruit us. Actually, one of our students got recruited by Skadden, literally through just trying to advocate that FGP students need more visibility. Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
No problem. Okay, great. Thank you very much for that. Now we will move on to our next question. And that is, we'll start with Caitlin on this question. So how have you handled situations where a colleague was not accepting of another's diversity?
So this is sort of a sad mention for me, but I mean, I go to school at Washington Lee University, and so for students who don't know, that is where the Red Hen restaurant was. So even recently, we have been dealing with protesters coming into our town and kind of having issues with, they have been doing graffiti that is both racist and offensive to not just the law students, but to the undergrads and citizens at whole. And so dealing with those issues has definitely been galvanizing, and I want to make sure that in the times like these, diverse law students not only understand that it's good to be diverse, but that it's safe. And so how we've dealt with that is that as a law school, we have made it very clear we don't support these ideas. We will keep our community and our diverse individuals safe. And I want to spread that type of idea around the ABA and around to other law students that being diverse and holding these different viewpoints shouldn't be harmful. We should feel safe and good to be diverse. Thank you.
Great. Now we will have Miosotti go next.
Yeah, so again, like Caitlin, like from firsthand experience, when I started law school, I was told to just go to my affinity group, which I guess the closest would be LASA. I was told that we really didn't need an FGP group. I battled administration for it, petitioned my group forward, and now as a result, the BU law administration understands better FGP needs. So that is like one of my personal experiences. And I think just first acknowledging that not everyone knows nor understands fully diversity. And as a leader and advocate, I would handle this by offering to explain diversity in a manner that is relatable to the person and help them see the importance of truly understanding diversity.
Great, and we'll have Alana go next.
I want to talk about two instances really quickly. One instance is I know we all have constitutional law, and you can always have very interesting conversations in that class. But one of my fellow classmates had very strong opinions against policies such as affirmative action and minority students. He felt was unfair for those policies to be in place. And following class, me and him had a very open conversation where I just asked him questions like, have you thought about it this way? Or have you, looked at it in this way? And even though we have very different views, we have been able to have conversations where I may have been able to offer to him a different point of view that he may not have thought of before. On a larger scale, I am the founder of a national cervical cancer organization. So through that, I talked on a congressional briefing about Medicaid and how that affects women of color and how legislation is affecting them now. So that's important as far as having the discussion.
Great, thank you all so much. That was awesome. The next question will begin with Miosotti, and we'll continue in our rotating order. The next question is, what strategies have you used to address diversity challenges? What were some of the successful strategies in particular that you've used?
Yeah, so I think like my most successful strategy in terms of like advocating for diversity has been to really listen to diverse students. I am diverse, but I'm not going to speak through my experiences to them. The beauty about FGP is that it has many diverse, different ethnic students, different sexual orientation. So I had to deal with a lot of diverse students and bringing their needs. For example, just quickly example, in our event, I had put in our name tags their pronouns for LGBTQ students because I was talking to one student, they were like, people really should call me there because that's how I identify. So that's just one example. Yeah. Thank you.
Great, and next we will have Alana speak.
Thank you. One way I have addressed different diversity issues, for example, I'm on the leadership board this year for Black Law Students Association, and I talked to a lot of different diverse students who may not be Black or consider themselves African American, and they feel that they may not be able to come to BALSA meetings, or they want to participate but they don't feel comfortable. And I've made sure to advocate that although we are a state organization that promotes students of color to have somewhere to go, you are open to come to these events. You are open to be a part of them, if nothing else, to get a different perspective and to be able to have more interactions with diverse law students so that we can work together on different projects. We can work together to affect the community surrounding the law school as a whole. And that's something that I try to promote, and that I try to let students know that they are welcome in this space, and that they are, we are open to have them a part of our organization as well.
Great, and next we have Caitlin. Caitlin, I believe you may be on mute.
Sorry, I was on mute, but so in holding this position, there is a lot that I wanted to do. And so I promised a lot that I was going to do last year, and I was looking back at that and saying, did I accomplish most of what I wanted to do for this position? And I did. I was able to do all of this, though, by reaching out directly to students and to entities, to just anybody who I thought could help, and ask, what do you want? What do you think about these issues? And if you do want to help, what can we do for you in return? By doing that, we've been able to create new resources, such as the Diversity Resource Guide tailored to law students, the Diversity Resource Calendar that has hundreds of resources for law students. And how I was able to get this was talking to ABA entities and saying, hey, what entities do you have, or what programs, what is anything you have for law students? And then they gave it to me because, again, as Misodi said, the ABA is eager to work with law students, and you do that by working directly. As well, talking to different law students has been very helpful as well. Thank you.
Great, thank you all. That was great. And for one of our final questions, we are going to begin with Alana on this question. It's still a 1-minute response. But the question is, if you could sit on a bench in the beautiful woods, who would you be sitting next to on your bench and why?
If I could sit on a beautiful bench in the woods, I would probably sit next to Thurgood Marshall. That was one of the really strong forces that brought me to law school, and specifically to the Baltimore area. I definitely have strong commitments to education policy. I believe that every child deserves an adequate education, despite of socioeconomic, despite race, and any of those factors, which is unfortunately, as we all know, not the case in America right now. So that's someone that I would just want to pick his brain and, have some conversation about Brown versus Board of Education, see how that goes. And that's someone who's inspired me and that I would love if I had the opportunity just to have this conversation in the woods. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we'll move on to Caitlin.
If I could talk to anybody, I guess it would probably be Maya Angelou. She is somebody who I really wanted to meet. And in undergrad, me and a friend actually made a plan to go to the University of North Carolina and Wake Forest and meet her. But unfortunately, before we could, she died. So she has always been a really influential figure of not just a philanthropist, a writer that I definitely am, but she is also just a person who has been through a lot and has been able to show me that you can get through these things by being a kind person, by being a direct person, and by also just being a person that does what you love and advocating for diversity, writing, taking care of myself. These are things that I love. So I would just like to talk to her about that and thank her for being such an inspiration.
Great, and now we'll move on to Misodi.
Yeah, so as cliche as it's gonna sound, like if I was in the woods by myself, it would have to be my mother. She is a domestic violence survivor. She is the bravest person I know, the most resilient person I know. I wouldn't be here in this Q&A if it wasn't for her, single mother. She literally has, through her, I have channeled bravery. But if I had to say some kind of figurehead, would have to be either Kimberly Crenshaw or Dorothy Roberts. I'm a big pro reproductive justice advocate and women's rights, so they're my favorites. I stalk them on Twitter, I tweet them all the time, and they're just phenomenal women who have been pushing for women's rights and especially women of color. Thank you.
Great. Those were fantastic answers. I loved that. The fun questions are always the best part. So now we'll move on to closing statements, and we'll give each candidate 2 minutes for a closing statement. And because Alana got to go first in the opening, we'll move to the second person to go. So it would be Caitlin, then we'll go with Misodi, and then Alana closing out. So Caitlin, whenever you're ready, I'll begin the 2 minutes.
Okay. And so I just like to say in closing that this job has been a job, but it has been one of the best experiences I've ever had, and I've had quite a few experiences in my life. It's not been a good experience, though, because of what it's personally done for me. I could care less about that. It's been a good experience because I've always said that my life's mission is I want to help as many people as possible, and I want to help as many diverse people as possible. And so in doing this job and seeing so many diverse students meeting them, making friends, as well as attorneys and lawyers and just so many high-ranking individuals who want to help with that mission has been great, not just for, again, me, because I could care less for that. It's been good for the law student division and for the ABA in general. People are listening to us. People want us to take the lead and be the ABA that is diverse, that has a voice. And as a delegate of diversity, I want to make sure that we really do have a voice and that we're listened to by the ABA, and that students at their different law schools are listened to. That's why I believe in direct communication, and that's why, again, everybody who wants to talk to me, I am always open and always here to talk to you about what you want to talk to. No idea is too little or too small or too stupid for me to listen to you about. And I think that most of the Law Student Division Council Board, including Nagin, feel that way definitely. And so if I get elected to this position next year, that would be great. But even if I don't, I just want to say that, again, everybody in this panel right now would be great for this position. But I want this job because I want to continue defining the position. And I also want to make sure that I continue making a change for law students overall that are diverse, that feel like they aren't heard, and feel like that in scary times like these, we need to stick together and make sure that we are listened to by the ABA, because we will inherit what we wrought right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we will move on to Nyasoti.
Truthfully, I applied for this position because I felt no one was advocating for me at my law school. I want to shed more visibility for FGP students, and I want to create more transparency of what resources the ABA can offer diverse students. I want the ABA to be how BU Law is now, a community where diverse students can easily get involved without any obstacles and embrace their ideas, to make law schools a better place for diverse students and even a better place for diverse professionals in the legal field. Also, it is no secret that the legal profession is not diverse. And as delegate of diversity and inclusion, it is one of my main concerns that we need to escalate ideas for aggressive pipeline programs to get diverse students into law school and eventually into the legal profession. Please contact me with any questions or concerns. I invite everyone to look through my materials, including my YouTube video, to better understand the platform I want to create. I am so grateful to be among all of these qualified candidates, and I'm grateful to share my story with you all. I hope to have your vote this upcoming August 3rd. And for those who have been emailing me their FGP stories, I'm so grateful for them. I've been learning so much about many people, and thank you for those who have been supporting me. Thank you.
Great, and now we will move on to Alana's closing statement.
Thank you. I first want to congratulate all of the candidates here today. I think that we all are amazing candidates. I think we all want to promote diversity, and we want to see change within the ABA and within the legal community as a whole. I want to say, as my position, I have a wide array of experience. I was committed to diversity through my undergraduate education. I brought that commitment through my law school career thus far, and I want to take the experience I have and be able to apply that to the ABA. Currently, I go to a law school located in Baltimore City, which is the majority of a diverse population, but the law school is very much isn't reflective of that community, and I think that comes from the legal profession as a whole, really still having very much issues with diversity, whether it's women in positions, whether it's individuals of color. And although I know you can't fix it all in one day, I think we should start here with the ABA. And I just want to emphasize my commitment to hearing each individual out. You know, I give people my phone number, call me, you know, we can talk about your issues. I know we're all busy, such as law students are, but I will make time for you to hear each individual concern you have. And if I can't get the answer for you, I will find the answer for you, and I will make a plan to try to resolve the issue as effectively as I can. And that's just something that I want to emphasize, is that's what I'm running for, and that's what I hope that you choose me to be able to accomplish that for you all this upcoming voting cycle for 2018-2019 school year.
Thank you all so much. So first and foremost, I want to thank the candidates for their hard work and for all the research they've done, culminating up to this point. I want to encourage everyone watching to make sure to check ABA for Law students under the election section, to check out the candidate statements, watch the YouTube videos, get to know these candidates before you make a decision come annual meeting. But thank you all so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing some of you at annual meeting.